Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to help you get right to the heart of the topics you care about.
Yeah, cutting through the noise, finding those aha moments.
Exactly. You want to feel genuinely informed, quickly, without getting totally bogged down. And that's our mission today.
Today we're jumping into international business education. It's a really dynamic field.
It really is. And we've got a great set of recent articles looking at some innovative teaching strategies.
And these aren't just theories, right? These are practical approaches being used now, things that actually work.
We really want to get to the essence of why these methods matter for the future of IB learning.
Okay, so we're looking at 5 main areas from these articles. First up, video case studies, especially ones with, direct input from executives.
Then there's AI, artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
and how it's making learning maybe more interactive, more inclusive.
After that, we'll hit on experimental design. Basically, teaching future managers how to use experiments for smarter decisions in big multinational companies, MNCs.
All right, those companies operating everywhere. We'll also look at community-engaged service learning. Sounds interesting.
It is. It blends business skills with, social responsibility. And finally, virtual exchange programs.
Connecting students across cultures, but online.
Exactly. So quite a mix, but all aimed at making IB education more effective and, honestly, more engaging.
Okay, let's dive in. Where do we start? Maybe the bigger picture.
Yeah, let's set the scene. So the idea of innovating in teaching, that's not new, obviously. It's a well-trodden path in pedagogy.
But for international business specifically, there are some unique angles. One source mentions Pake's work from 2020, talking about needing a curriculum that's broad, interdisciplinary.
And functionally integrated, right. Plus this idea of transformative learning.
Transformative learning. What exactly does that entail?
It's about more than just soaking up facts. It's getting students to really question their own viewpoints, maybe change their perspectives through critical self-reflection.
Okay, I see. Deeper learning.
Exactly. And that fits with what Ruby, Calixto, and Mookie were saying in 2020. They emphasized student-centered learning, self-directed learning.
Multicultural teamwork, applying theory to actual practice, developing those cross-cultural skills, all crucial stuff for IB.
Definitely. And in that kind of setup, the educator isn't just lecturing.
No, they become more of a facilitator, right?
Yeah.
Guiding, providing feedback, maybe even modeling empathy.
Precisely, a more supportive role. Herbie and colleagues also stressed that educators themselves need to be agile.
Adaptable.
Yeah, keep up with global trends, technology, integrate digital tools, broaden their own global outlook. It's essential.
It's a constant learning process for them, too, then. And Schmitz and Cordova in 2023 pushed this even further, suggesting we need to really rethink teaching methods.
Like integrating critical viewpoints, collaborating across different academic fields.
Right, to boost creativity and inclusivity. They mentioned some really interesting techniques: improvisational theater, Lego serious play.
Yeah, even design thinking. It's about shaking things up.
But Dieleman and others noted in 2022 that maybe the IB field hasn't been as focused on actually sharing these teaching innovations.
Or understanding their wider impact, yeah. Compared to general education, maybe there's less dissemination.
Which feels like a bit of a missed opportunity, doesn't it?
It really does. These great ideas could potentially influence so much more.
And that's where something like the AIB Teaching and Education Shared Interest Group comes in with their Teaching Innovation Award.
Exactly. It's not just about recognition. It's about sharing best practices, encouraging improvement.
And interestingly, the finalists for that award were actually invited to contribute to the AIB Insights special issue that we're drawing from today.
Ah, so that's the connection. It's a great way to get these practical examples out there.
Okay, brilliant. So let's get into the specifics. First up, video case studies.
Right. So the MNC Whispering series is a key example here. What makes them stand out is the authenticity. Well, they feature senior managers who are actually involved in the business situations being discussed. It's like bringing the boardroom right to the students.
Like getting the inside scoop, but structured for learning. The article links this to the Harvard Business School's problem-solving model.
Yeah, students grapple with the real dilemmas these managers face. They have to think through solutions.
And did it work? What were the results?
Pretty positive, actually. The MNC Whispering Project reported better learning outcomes, increased cultural awareness, improved skills, and students feeling more ready for their careers.
That makes sense. It ties into multimedia learning theory, right? Using visuals and audio helps things stick.
Definitely, Myers theory. But it's not just passive watching. The article stresses that guidance is needed for complex stuff.
And storytelling becomes important.
Hugely important. A good narrative keeps students engaged. helps them follow the twists and turns of a business problem.
Were there specific examples of student feedback?
Yeah, they mentioned students feeling more confident, better at spotting stakeholders, understanding innovation better after using cases like NV Holders, F-Secure, and others.
And lecturers like them too.
They did. They found them useful for illustrating really complex IB challenges, like, say, digitalization, in a tangible way.
Seeing it in action makes abstract concepts clearer.
For sure. And interestingly, the impact sometimes went beyond the explicit learning goals.
Oh, like what?
Like students getting more passionate about IB generally, or developing a more entrepreneurial mindset just from seeing these practitioners in their element.
That's the power of authentic content, I guess. It can spark things unexpectedly. But using these effectively requires some thought. Managing cognitive load.
Exactly. You don't want to overwhelm students.
Yeah.
So you need to align the video with learning goals, structure it clearly, challenge solution, outcome, use visual cues, ask focused questions.
Keep them on track.
Right. And there are different ways to use them, theoretically speaking. Inductive, deductive, abductive.
Break those down quickly. Inductive is
Practice to theory. Analyze the case, then draw out the principles.
deductive.
Theory to practice. Start with the concept, then use the video to illustrate it.
And abductive.
That's more back and forth, moving between what you observe in the case and the theories, exploring the best explanation.
You got it. And these videos are flexible, usable in different class formats.
Very flexible. It's synchronous, asynchronous, hybrid. You can assign them before class, analyze them live, use them for online discussions.
So they can help with getting students prepped for case discussions, which can be a challenge.
Definitely. And useful in hybrid settings where you're juggling in-person and remote students.
So the bottom line for video cases is purposeful integration.
Yeah, clear objectives, reflection, active listening, active engagement. It's not just hitting play.
Makes sense. Okay, let's switch gears now to AI, artificial intelligence in IB education. This feels very current.
It certainly is. And as the article by Gribb, Kirst, and Holtbrink notes, it's a bit polarizing. Well, you've got concerns about academic honesty on one side, but then this huge potential for personalized adaptive learning on the other.
Our focus here, though, is on making IB teaching more inclusive and interactive, especially given the diverse student groups.
Exactly. Think about students from all different language backgrounds. AI tools like automatic translation, voiceovers in like 36 languages, that's huge.
And connecting concepts automatically, collaborative tools.
Yeah, the potential to link different materials, video lectures, textbook sections, external resources seamlessly, that could really deepen understanding.
That sounds incredibly powerful. But the article also flags the digital divide, right?
Crucial point. Not everyone has the same access to tech or the skills to use it well. Educators have to be mindful of that, find ways to bridge those gaps.
So how did these authors actually structure an AI-enhanced course?
They based it on Kolb's learning cycle experience, reflection, conceptualization, experimentation. So it included AI-enhanced videos, a textbook, interactive sessions, self-tests, forums, case seminars, a blended approach.
And the AI video enhancements. They used a tool called Copal.ai.
Right. It does auto transcripts and voiceovers, uses NLP, natural language processing, to link concepts to databases, makes transcripts searchable with timestamps.
And even includes a ChatGPT-4 learning assistant.
Yeah, embedded right there. Plus, lecturers get analytics.
Analytics, what kind?
They can see how students interact with the material, what parts they rewatch, what concepts they explore. It's real-time feedback on what's landing and what's not.
That could be incredibly useful for adjusting teaching on the fly. How did students react?
The article reported higher satisfaction and students feeling like they learned more effectively compared to traditional methods.
That's promising. So what are the key takeaways for educators wanting to try this?
The authors suggest 3 steps. First, assess your current course. Where could AI fit? Second, look at your video material, find supporting resources AI could link to.
Right.
And third, really engage the students. Explain the tools, show them the benefits, make it clear how to use them effectively.
So it's about thoughtful integration, not just adding tech for tech's sake.
Absolutely. Strategic implementation is key.
All right. Very interesting. Let's move on to our next topic, experimentation in multinational corporations.
Yes, this piece by Sir points out a fascinating gap. MNCs increasingly rely on experiments for decisions.
Like Booking.com or Amazon running thousands of tests.
Exactly. They use it for data-driven decisions, understanding cause and effect, reducing bias, testing innovations quickly. Bezos credited it as core to Amazon's success.
But companies need people with these skills.
Desperately. But business schools haven't quite caught up.
Why not?
Two main reasons cited: less academic research in IB uses experiments, and fewer specialized courses on experimental methods are offered.
So this author created a course to fill that gap. The Power of Experimentation in Multinationals.
That's the one, a master's course. It sounds really hands-on. Lectures, case studies, lab visits, actually participating in experiments, and a team project designing one.
How do they kick it off?
Start strong. Examples of big managerial mistakes: Balmer on the iPhone, Google's Dragonfly to show the cost of not experimenting well, plus a guest speaker from industry.
Grabs your attention.
Then what? Then the nuts and bolts. Designing good experiments, online, offline, digital tools. Analyzing imperfect data, like a real-world truck company example. Students even present designs from published papers.
So they learn from successes like Booking.com, but also critique existing research.
Right. And a really unique part is that students actually take part in an experiment designed for the course each semester.
Oh, interesting. On what topics?
Could be anything from cultural impacts on using AI to investment choices to career decisions. Then they debrief, brainstorm, do pre-mortems thinking about what could go wrong before starting.
Smart. And ethics.
Definitely discussed using cases like the Facebook experiments. They also visit university labs to see the setup.
And the final project.
Students design their own experiment using design sprints, getting peer feedback along the way.
So the goal is practical skill.
Absolutely. Equip students to conduct experiments, see their value, and hopefully foster that experimental culture wherever they end up working.
It sounds like a great way to make research methods feel really relevant and useful. Okay, let's shift focus again to community-engaged service learning.
This article by Caliapin really argues that higher ed needs to prep students for real-world, often socially complex challenges, not just textbook stuff.
And community-engaged pedagogy, combined with service learning, is a way to do that.
Exactly. It merges theory with practice in the community, aiming to build civic engagement and social responsibility alongside business skills.
How is it different from, say, just problem-based learning?
The key difference is the strong focus on that civic engagement piece and making a real, measurable impact in the community. Plus, reflection is absolutely central.
So it's not hypothetical. It's hands-on, making a difference.
Right. It's rooted in things like experiential learning theory. The author implemented this in an IB management seminar in Malaysia, tied directly to a course objective about how firms respond to IB issues.
How was it assessed? That seems like it could be tricky.
The service learning project was actually 60% of the grade. It covered everything from identifying the problem with a community partner to implementing a solution and submitting a big final report, written part, reflection, presentation.
60%, so it's core to the course.
Absolutely. The process was mapped out across the semester, starting with finding partners, getting project approval, implementation, reporting, the whole cycle.
And the results. Did it impact student learning?
Significantly, according to the article, student grades improved overall, with more getting top marks.
Any specific examples of student projects?
Yeah, really compelling ones. One group helped a local bakery sort out its finances and pricing. Another helped a waffle business boost its sales substantially.
Wow, so tangible impact. You can really see the connection.
Totally. And the reflection part, journaling, discussions, that's key for developing that social responsibility angle, thinking about their role, the impact, the broader issues.
And teamwork must be crucial.
Essential. Plus, it helps build understanding in a multicultural classroom setting. Students become more aware of the long-term impact of business decisions, which aligns with what accreditation bodies want to see to societal impact.
So what are the practical tips for educators?
5 main insights. First, set clear learning outcomes linked to the project. Second, build strong community partnerships. That's vital. Third, integrate reflection throughout ask guiding questions.
Okay.
Fourth, use technology to help coordination. And fifth, tailor projects to the local context, like the example of creating an export plan for a local firm.
It sounds like it could be adapted to different places, even though it might take effort to scale up.
Exactly. The core principles are adaptable. It's about creating graduates who are skilled and socially conscious.
A really powerful combination.
Huh.
Okay, final area for today, virtual exchange, creating global classrooms online.
Yeah, the article by Dockley, DeFarias, and Wang calls virtual exchange VE pretty revolutionary, using online tools for really meaningful cross-cultural interactions.
Building that global classroom feel without anyone needing a passport.
Exactly. Enhances learning, immerses students in different cultures, and it became super important during the pandemic for internationalization at home.
Makes sense. It lowers barriers to global experiences.
Definitely. The author shared 3 examples from Georgia State University, partnering with institutions in Morocco, Tunisia, and Portugal, and they specifically used high-impact practices, HIPs.
HIPs, remind me.
Teaching activities proven to boost engagement and learning, things like collaborative projects, undergraduate research, etc.
Got it. So what did these VE projects look like?
Okay, case 1. GSU and ESCA in Morocco. Virtual teams tackled global innovation challenges using a platform called Agorize. Focus on collaboration, diversity, global learning.
Case 2.
GSU and IPM in Portugal. Real consulting projects. Teams devised investment strategies for actual companies. Again, collaboration, diversity, but also tackling practical stuff like time zones.
And the third one.
GSU and SMU in Tunisia. This one involved original case research and writing, so it hit collaborative work, global learning, undergraduate research, and intensive writing. They even had a case competition.
Wow, quite varied. How do they measure the impact?
They used pre- and post-surveys on intercultural sensitivity, looked at objective exam scores, and analyzed reflection essays.
Our findings.
Positive link between VE and higher final exam scores, plus a significant jump in students' confidence in interacting across cultures.
That's great. Any student comments shared?
Yeah, reflections mention learning about time management in global teams, handling time zones, applying frameworks like PESTLE in new contexts, and just feeling more confident about international collaboration overall.
Really brings the benefits home. But it can't all be smooth sailing. Challenges.
Oh, for sure. Coordinating across institutions has challenges. Time zones, aligning academic calendars and course goals, different institutional rules, different course formats. It takes work.
So what are the recommendations for making it work?
Key things. Trust and collaboration between partner faculty are crucial. Use good assessment tools. Provide faculty support and training. Motivate the student teams, maybe using VE badges for recognition.
Okay.
Use a mix of synchronous and asynchronous tools. Think carefully about how VE fits into different course settings. And plan for sustainability funding, ongoing training.
So practical advice for schools wanting to do more VE.
Definitely. They also suggested more research is needed on VE in short courses, the best mix of live versus non-live activities, and comparing engagement with non-VE courses.
Sounds like a really promising area that's still evolving.
Absolutely. A powerful way to prepare students.
Okay, well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. 5 really distinct ways international business education is innovating.
Yeah, from video cases bringing the boardroom closer to AI making learning more personal and inclusive.
To teaching experimental design for data-savvy managers, service learning, connecting business with community.
And virtual exchange, building those crucial cross-cultural bridges online.
And the key thing is, these aren't just ideas on paper. They're being used, refined, and they're showing positive results. It offers real lessons for educators.
And a glimpse into where business education might be heading.
So, a final thought for our listeners to mull over. Thinking about these different approaches, video, AI, experiments, service learning, virtual exchange, which one clicks most with you? Either for your own learning or thinking about developing talent.
And maybe consider how these trends might shape what global leadership looks like in the future. Definitely food for thought and worth exploring further if any of these sparked your interest.